Thursday on a special 2-hour Buck Rogers, a sorcerer plots to conquer the earth. His weapon, an army of slave women. And it's up to Buck to stop him.
I've got a reputation to uphold too, you know.
Starring Gil Gerard with Jack Palance and returning to action, Buster Crabbe. Buck Rogers, Thursday.
I know. You're probably thinking, what does a promo for that old Buck Rogers TV show have to do with CHiPs and Sindy Cahill? Well, here's the thing. The very first thing that I remember seeing actress Brianne Leary in was Buck Rogers. Sure, I'd seen some of those CHiPs episodes with Brianne in them, and I thought Sindy was an okay character. But that Buck Rogers episode, for oh so many reasons, made me wonder, who the heck was this actress? It was only then, after doing a bit more research, that I was able to connect the dots and realize that Brianne had been on TV for quite a while. More on that in just a moment, but first let's talk about CHiPs. You know, I really love that show. The program ran for 6 seasons on NBC from 1977 to 1983. And the California highways, I have to believe, were just a little bit safer because of this show. And these two fellers, well, they were both great stars in my book. Yep, even though Eric Estrada seemed to be getting more coverage in terms of magazine covers and all of that kind of stuff, I always felt like Larry was every bit Eric's equal. They were both very, very good on this show, which was really popular with both adults and kids, especially early on during the show's run. And it was during the second season of the show that the character Sindy Cahill was introduced. And you know what? Brianne's character just kind of instantly felt like she belonged. Fans loved her. On the show, Sindy wanted to be the California Highway Patrol's first female motorcycle cop. Now, I must admit that I haven't seen every episode that Sindy was in, but to my recollection, that never happened, gosh darn it. Why? Because after appearing in over 20 episodes during the second and the beginning of the third season, Sindy disappeared without a trace and no one ever mentioned her again. Now, I've already talked at length about Buck Rogers, but even before CHiPs, I had seen Brianne on TV. She had been on Robert Conrad's Baa Black Sheep for a little while, her smile and buoyant personality brightening up every scene that she was in. From there, well, she moved on to CHiPs, and like I said, fans loved her. I have to believe that Brianne thought that CHiPs was going to be steady work for the next few years. But after the 4th episode of the 3rd season, Brianne was looking for other gigs. So during that 3rd season, a new character, Officer Bonnie Clark, played by Randy Oakes, was introduced, and she proved to be every bit as popular as Sindy. Still, fans were left scratching their heads regarding Sindy's whereabouts. So what happened exactly? Well, the truth is, we don't know all of the answers. At least I don't. I couldn't find a definitive one while doing research for this video. I did find some clues, however, and I'm happy to share them here. One of the CHiPs wikis out here on the internet says that it's not known why she disappeared from CHiPs, but then it does go on to mention Bonnie Clark. Could it really be that the folks involved with putting the show together only wanted one steady recurring female character? It's possible, I guess. Another CHiPs wiki site points the finger squarely at Eric Estrada, saying that he didn't like that Sindy was becoming such a popular character, and he and Brianne didn't get along all that well, so he gave the network an ultimatum: get rid of her, or he was going to leave himself. Could that be the reason? I guess it's possible. However, if that's true, I must say that I am very impressed with the amount of clout that Eric wielded on the set of CHiPs. Whatever the reason, the good news is that Brianne landed on her feet. In fact, she has done remarkably well for herself, both in front of the screen as well as behind it. The 80s were filled with all sorts of appearances on a variety of well-known TV shows like Archie Bunker's Place, Voyagers, Night Court, and Simon & Simon. But it was during the 90s that Brianne really hit her stride. She co-created the award-winning animated program Stickin' Around that ran for 3 seasons. Like The Simpsons, this show, produced by the well-known animation house Nelvana, started out as a handful of animated shorts that ran on CBS. And at the same time, Brianne was discovering that her favorite character to play was Brianne Leary. Along with J.D. Roth and George Foreman, Brianne hosted a show on the Disney Channel that went behind the scenes at both Disneyland and Disney World called Inside Out. And then, just for good measure, she hosted a program over on Animal Planet called Pittsburgh, USA. There is an article that was published by the Buffalo News during the mid-90s that talks about all of the cool things that Brianne was doing at the time. She's also an inventor, by the way, I'll share a clip of her invention at the end of this video if you stick around. Anyway, in that article, Brianne talks about a particular news piece that she'd done while reporting for a show that she co-hosted titled Last Call. In that article, Brianne says that she was in Los Angeles covering an event when she learned that the Los Angeles Police Department was celebrating its 125th anniversary. Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox were there, along with a bunch of other actors from various TV shows. And at some point, after trying to get their attention, the two of them saw her, and they asked her to join them for photos. So getting back to this whole idea about Eric getting Brianne dismissed from the show, I'm just not sure that it holds water. Truthfully, I think it's more likely that the show decided to go in another direction and just focus on Bonnie Clark, the character played by Randy Oakes. Alright, so what was this invention that Brianne brought to the market? Well, the suspense is over, folks. Here it is. Now it's your turn. Please share your memories in the comments section, and if you like this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. Maybe even share it on Facebook or Twitter. And what the heck, why not consider subscribing to my channel? I talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.